Hi, Maria here. Welcome to my channel. Today is a bonus video, and the reason for it is I had 3 separate conversations throughout the week with people, maybe actually 4. So a lot of conversations around the area of self-hatred or not valuing yourself. And I just, whenever that happens, where there's quite a few people that I end up interacting with, I just feel like that's probably something that's kind of, lingering around more than just obviously the people that I interact with. So I thought I would talk about my own self-hatred and what I did to kind of work through it. Back when I was like 19, 20, and then just I got married when I was 23. So 30 years on August 7th, I'll have been married. But anyway, 23 years old. And I was really struggling. So between 19 and 23, I was really aware of how much I hated myself. And I can remember even younger than that, there was this one time where I got mad at myself while I was curling my hair. And I looked at myself with such hatred in the mirror. I made this scary face. And I was so creeped out by myself that I actually left the room. Seriously, the loathing and the hatred that was in my face scared me. And so then, years go on. I'm 23, just newly married, really aware of how much I struggle with insecurity and just really a lot of self-loathing. And basically it for me was around negative self-talk. So you're, whether it be things like you're useless, you're no good for nothing, a waste of space, whatever. For me, the phrase that I would say anytime I looked at myself in the mirror was, "You effing bitch." That's what I thought. But I'd say the whole F word in my head every time. And there were many times where I would look at myself so horrible with so much hatred that I would feel uncomfortable. So really, really, really struggled with it. And it hindered me from being able to achieve things because I was too insecure. I still did a lot of things, I was always achieving, but as far as really going for my dreams or experiencing any sort of level of joy or security or celebrating myself in any way, that was just not a chance. And really, it's a type of battery that we do in our heads where the negative self-talk is so big and so loud that we're emotionally abusing ourselves. And so what I realized was that whether it be words that I had heard at school, whether it be words that I heard from adults, or whether it be things that I said myself, all of these things were not only abusive, but they're all lies. But what I had done with these lies is that in some capacity, I gave it authority by agreeing with it. So I agreed and came under that thing. And that was the authority over my life, all these negative things. So how can you actually get out from underneath that when you are choosing to believe and agree with so many lies? And so I'm like, okay, well, I want to be able to deal with this. How do I deal with this? And so for me, what I started with was writing down all the lies. And because I am a Christian, I asked God to help me bring them to memory. You don't have to do that. If you don't believe in God, that's fine. Just think about it, reflect, and go, okay, well, what are the lies that I'm believing? And then what I did was I asked God into the situation again, and I said, okay, God, what are the truths? So these are the lies. What are the truths? What's the truth? So again, if you don't believe in God, you can still just go, okay, well, what's actually the truth? So however you choose to do it, I invited God, you don't have to. But I wrote down my lies that I was believing, and then I wrote down the truth. And then for each one of those lies, I went not just bulked them all together, but each one of them I actually declared So said out loud, because I think there's more power in speaking out loud as opposed to what's in here. So this was always pretty silent. Sometimes I verbally abused myself out loud, but a lot of times it was silent. And like, I hated myself so much, I would beat myself up. I'd punch myself in the head. I'd hit myself with my brush. It was like I abused myself. So I would hit myself with a brush if I got really mad in the head, because you couldn't see that. Or I'd hit myself wherever my clothes were. So I'd sometimes have the most nasty bruises, like seriously. So not only emotional battery, but it went to physical battery. Myself, that's what I did. So I wanted to break those abusive cycles, not only for me, but for the people that I interact with, and eventually for my kids. I wanted to break these cycles. And so with every lie that I believed, I said, I reject that lie. I don't believe that lie. It's not true. This is what's true. And I said what the truth was. And so I went through and kind of rejected all these lies I had been believing, and, just kind of made a statement, line in the sand, stated what I believe is the truth now. But then, so that was kind of like the initial stake in the ground. But then after that came renewing my mind, because it's ingrained in us, right? So then what I did was for the next 2 years, every time I thought, you effing bitch, and then I would go, no. And I'd say this out loud. No, you are precious. You are valuable. You are kind. Whatever the truth was, those were the things that I spoke over myself. And I did that pretty much daily, because the lies that were ingrained were so strong. So it was on a daily basis. Sometimes it was multiple times during the day. Whenever I could, I would say, no, you're this. And I'd speak to myself honestly in the third person, because oftentimes I was looking in the mirror. I think it's actually better to go, no, I am this, I am this, I am this, and state the truth that way. So I had to do that for 2 full years before I really felt a freedom, and those lies that were so ingrained kind of were broken, and they weren't so entrenched. And then, continuing to believe the truth and speak the truth over my life, it gave me the ability to kind of overcome that on a large scale. Now, the important thing to realize is that it's a work in progress, and it continues for the rest of my life. So I wish I could say at 53, 30 years later, that I was 100% better and I loved myself to bits. But the reality is I still struggle with, my failings and feeling like a loser sometimes or whatever. But I choose to not linger there. And I think that's a huge key, is to go, no, I'm not going to hang on to some accusation. And so often that's the thing. It's a lie if it's an accusation. You're so this. You're such a this. Whatever it is, it's an accusation. And to me, that's from the pit of hell. Those are things that are meant to drag you down, to pull you under, to stop you from succeeding in life. They're accusations. They're lies. So whenever those come, I just really try to go, no, this is the truth. Yes, I potentially will struggle with areas like that for the rest of my life, but I choose to not allow it to control me or to have massive power. So it's a fleeting moment, and then I let it go. I go, no, that's not true. And I can let it go now, because I worked through it. I want to encourage you with that. It doesn't matter what stage you are in life. And honestly, it doesn't matter what you've achieved in life. What I realized is that my achievements had no bearing on how I felt about myself. So when I was 19, I was actually the youngest manager of a retail chain in Canada. I was really proud of that, but it didn't change my self-loathing. I went on, and I've had like many kind of cool successes, things that I really wanted to accomplish as far as singing and different stuff. Lots of things that I still wish that I could have achieved, but lots of things that I've done, and none of that has had any bearing on actually my self-worth. Self-worth is beyond our achievements. Self-worth is something that's internal, that we have to choose to accept and receive and work through. But I want to tell you that you are precious. Like, you are precious. You are priceless. I know I say this a lot of times on these videos, but it's true. You have a beautiful light in you that the world needs. You were uniquely designed and placed where you are to be a light and to contribute in areas of love and care and kindness and so many other things. The way you think, the unique giftings that you have, those are all things that the world needs. Every person that is here has something that they can offer. But as far as our self-worth is concerned, I think it comes from just choosing to believe that we actually are those precious, priceless gems. If we only knew our worth, if we only understood just how priceless we are, can you imagine how amazing that would be if we accepted how priceless we were and then accepted others as priceless as well, regardless of their failings, because we all have so many failings, but that doesn't change our value. I saw this really cool analogy that I want to give to you guys to close. It was by a dear friend. And he had it was a $20 bill at the time. I have a $5. So this is our Canadian $5. It looks like funny money, but I love the color of it. Anyway, so this is our $5 bill. And so how much is this $5 bill worth? It's worth $5, right? What if I crumple it up? What if I completely crumple it up and it's all wrinkled and battered? How much is it worth? $5. What if I stomp on it, it gets dirty, and it's gone through the wringer, it's gone through the washing machine, it doesn't even look like its old self? How much is it worth? It's still worth $5. It's the same thing with us. We go through battles in life. We go through hard things, terribly hard things. We fail. We're not overly nice all the time. The reality is we're human, and we make mistakes and we fail and we get hurt, and life is hard. And sometimes life is we come out looking a little bit like this. It doesn't change our value. Your value, no matter what you've gone through, no matter what you've experienced, no matter what you've done, your value never changes. It never, ever changes. And that value is priceless. You are priceless. And my hope is that you'll begin to believe it. Maybe some of you do, maybe some of you don't. I'm very thankful that I do believe that I'm priceless, even though I struggle now. There's a lot of freedom in that. And the fact that I can feel that way about others as well. I consider that a gift, because it gives me so much more compassion for others. But you are priceless. More than $5. Anyway, that's my little spiel for the week. I hope you have a good one. If you are struggling, and I'm serious, if ever you are struggling and you want to share, feel free to reach out on Instagram. That's the easiest place to get a hold of me. DM me. And I will respond for sure. If you have a question, if you ever wonder about something, if you ever just want to share with someone that kind of can understand, because I've been there, feel free to reach out at any time. And anyway, I love you guys. You are priceless. You are priceless. Have an amazing week.